service in the year of 1996 as a teacher in the collegiate education. In 1996 to 1999, Madam has served as a teacher in collegiate education, and later Madam joined University of Mysore in the year of 1999. Till from 2011 till from 2011, Madam is serving as professor in the University of Mysore in the Department of Economics, Serving PG Center, University of Mysore, Mysore. Madam obtained her BA degree, MA degree, and PhD degree from University of Mysore. Her specialization is human development, women studies, and microeconomics. Madam is a special officer of PhD section in the University of Mysore, and Madam is also served as a director of Serving PG Center, University of Mysore. Madam has delivered more than 50 invited speeches in various academic institutes, and under the able guardianship of Madam, more than 15 students obtained their PhD degree and MPhil degree. Madam has completed many research projects sponsored by ACSSR and UGC, and currently Madam is a principal investigator of 2 research projects. One is aging population and its economic impact, and the next is ethics in corporate social responsibility practices, an overview. So, Madam has published many research articles in the national and international level journals and edited books. With this is a very brief CV about Madam. Madam CV run about many pages. So, with this brief introduction, I welcome I express my heartfelt and warm welcome to Madam for this session. Thank you, Madam, and thank you for being a resource person for this session. And on behalf of all participants and HRDC, I welcome you for this session.
Thank you so much, Chetan.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to say good morning to all of you, and I should say I'm very thankful to University of Mysore and this Academic Staff College colleagues, and also my dear friend Professor Mahesh for inviting me to this RC online course, and to be a part of this, where most of the faces are very familiar, and I'm really happy to be with you and to share some of my ideas regarding issues like aging population and ethics in corporate world, like corporate social responsibility, which is quite a discussed topic nowadays. Dear friends, these issues which I have taken are quite new, and it is doing a lot of debates throughout the world, and I really wanted to have feedback about the issue as a research topic, and many young researchers are interested in such socio-economic issues which are relevant for the society as a whole at the global level. And since all of you are good in the research and who are well versed with research techniques and all, I just felt that it is an opportunity for me also to take these issues in front of you and get some feedback. So with this, I'm thankful to all of you for your cooperation, and I just take this opportunity to discuss some of the issues related to aging population. And it is already 10:10. I think 1 hour is given to us. So all of us know it is a very casual observation. We are seeing that the world is aging, and the world has taken probably more than 100 years to double. That's what the demographers say. More than 100 years to double, and the next doubling happened. First doubling happened almost 500 years plus, and the second doubling in 100 years, and third one approximately in 70 years, and fourth one, the last doubling, which happened within a span of 39 years. And that was a very shocking thing for demographers, because they were expecting this huge rise, like from 6 billion to 12 billion. Is it possible to double less than 30, 40 years in the coming days? And the reality is they came to a conclusion that such doubling will not happen in the coming days, not even in next 100 years, because it is not a consistent change in the total population, but now we are experiencing a transformation in the composition of demography. The composition, which was like a typical pyramid, which we can see here, the population pyramid, the first one where we have a typical pyramid-like structure. It is also changing over a period of time with the gradual change in the fertility and mortality rate. And the slow growth, zero growth, and the negative growth, you can see the base is becoming smaller, that is the children. The number of children is getting smaller and smaller, and the upper portion is becoming bigger and bigger. And this realization of the transition, the pyramid-like structure changing its shape, came into the realization of the demographers and also for the governments throughout the world, probably when China went for a single baby norm. When China wanted to strictly reduce the fertility rate, which was huge, China being the socialist, the Marxist country, it went for a single baby norm. Every family is given a chance to have only one child. And that led to a drastic reduction in the fertility rate, of course, and the population came down. But at the same time, China's, the shape of the pyramid started changing. And later on, probably in 60s and 70s, when the discussion came out, like who is going to be the third superpower in the coming years, the economists started targeting India as the next superpower, not China, because with all the economic and political stability, China having the drawback of less number of children at that time. And later the children is going to be the next productive age group. Obviously, when the productive age group is less in number, then the productivity will come down. So then China realized the importance of having a proper number of children. But this realization throughout the world happened only in 2015. 2015, the world organizations, so-called population organizations or United Nations for that matter, they came to know that the number of children throughout the world is less than the old population. So 2015 is the year when they really came to a realization, and they have to accept the fact that it is going to be the future. The population is aging, not only in developed countries, in also developing countries like India, and we have to realize that the base of the pyramid is getting reduced. That means the next productive generation is obviously going to be smaller, and they have to have the responsibility of taking care of the bigger aged population. That realization made the world, the different countries, developed and developing countries, to think about the economic and social policies about the aged population. So this is how the pyramid is in transition. And this is also a comparison between two types of pyramids. You can obviously see in the beginning, the number of children is bigger. And it is a World Health Organization report 2010, where the population is changing. Not only that, even the ratio of men and women is also shown as blue and pink color. There also we can see the how the male-female ratio is also changing over a period of time. This is one of the changing world scenario. And this diagram is giving you a comparative picture of 1950, 2017, and an estimated population pyramid shape by 2100. We are seeing where the 2100, you can see almost a square-like pyramid, where the upper portion and the lower portion of the population pyramid is almost the same. And this look at the 2015, where it's a typical pyramid-like structure. The base is bigger and the peak is smaller. So this is the estimated population aging from 2015 to 2100 years. And this one speaks about the demographic transition in 5 stages. The upper portion is shown the 5 stages, and you can see the lower portion where the typical the transitional period is converted into pyramids, and where we can see in the first stage where both birth and death rates are higher, that's a typical pyramid. And in the second stage, we have a high birth rate, falling death rate. It's also a pyramid-like. Look at the difference in the shape. And 2011, as all of us know, is considered as the year of Great Divide. And that is the year where till that year, we have not seen any drastic increase in the population, because both birth and death rate were very high, and the total increase in the population is almost nil. But later on, when the population fertility rate comes down, and the mortality rate, fertility rate being high, mortality rate when it falls, then we have experienced the population explosion. Probably in the third stage, we can see a huge increase in the population. And this is what Malthusian theory speaks about. He says, if you don't control, then the population will blast in the coming days, and nature has to make some arrangements to reduce the population explosion. But what is happening in the latest stage, when both birth and death rate are coming down, the mortality rate is also low and the fertility rate is also low, leading to an expansion of life. The people are living more number of years, and that is the reason why we are having this issue of aging population. And I felt dependency ratio is very important, because we normally take into consideration the children and the aged as dependents. And for children, we take the number of children who are not working, like 0 to 15, those who are in the education group, and the aged 65 plus, and taking them together, dividing that by the number of working age, we get dependency ratio. And the relevance of this is the dependency ratio is almost there, it is increasing, but within the dependency rate, we can see the number of children, the contribution of children number is becoming lesser and lesser, and the number of aged people above 65 is increasing. And life expectancy, as all of us know, it is the expected years of life which we are going to live. United Nations has predicted that in 1950 it was almost 47. In 2020, in 1921, the year of Great Divide, what we call, the life expectancy was almost 28 years. And from there, now we have come almost nearing 65 to 70 years. And United Nations project is to be 75 years by 2050. So the demographic projections will be for 2050, where they say life expectancy will be 75, which is, of course, now we consider this as very casually we say it is okay, because we have good number of people around us who are more than 75 years. So the increase in life expectancy is mainly because of declining mortality rate, and also because of declining infant mortality. We are also having lesser number of fertility rate, and with education, of course, people are preferring to have less number of children, and we don't have too much of infant mortality. That's another reason why we are confident with having 1 or 2 kids. And as I told you, why the population is aging throughout the world, the same picture, mortality rate is falling and the fertility rate is also coming down, leading to a good number of people living for more number of years. And we are seeing number of aged people increasing. And low fertility rate means that there are fewer younger people entering the population. This we have already seen in case of many developed countries. And we are seeing China as one of the neighboring country where the population was very big, just like us. And we didn't go for a very strict population controlling measures, but China went, and China is experiencing a very steep increase, of course, in fertility rate. But if we look at the situation now, the Chinese population is not only facing the less number of children, but among the children, the number of female kids is very less in China. Chinese, most of the Chinese, when the government said it is only one child, they went for having one baby, and that too a male baby. So most of the couple are having a single baby, and that too a male baby. And this, of course, all the single baby now kids now probably they are entering the adult age. And the tragedy is these people are not getting a companion in their own country. And another tragedy is each child is having 6 couple of grandparents. Like each child, if we put the proportion between the aged population and child population in China, one child ratio with aged population is 1:6 in that way. So most of the population is already aged, and the young population is, most of the young population is male population, and they are pampered kids, as we call, since they are young and they are pampered and they are fatty, and already they are facing a lot of congenital health diseases. That's another problem faced by China. And another problem is, since they're not getting the companion here in China, most of the youths, most of China boys, they prefer to migrate to other countries where they can comfortably placed and also having a mate there. So these are the complications which China is facing because of a stern decision to go for single baby now in the previous years. And China now is opening its policies to the people, saying that they can opt for more than one kid. They can go for 2 or 3 kids. So population is aging suddenly, and now it is becoming a responsibility for the country as a whole, and also for the families to take care of the aged population. Because children, though they are dependents, we feed them, we invest a lot on them, thinking that they are going to be productive in the coming years. For the aged population, we in the sense the government or the adults of the family, they think that it's something like a consumption investment. And also because of a lot of diseases. See, the aging population is also transforming the disease pattern in country. Previously, for example, in India, we used to have a lot of diseases like infectious diseases. Now, the population is shifting from young to old. The old people are increasing in number, and the disease pattern is also becoming more like lifestyle related diseases. We are investing more on heart disease, more on cancer, more on things which are very much prevalent in old people. So these are all the issues which become very relevant for an economist, because the population is nothing but the customers, the demand, supply, decision-making group, and the composition change in the population also make us to think more about the policy decisions and about what to produce and how much to produce, and all these basic economic questions has to be questioned once again to change our answers. So the impact of population change, as I already told, aging population affect all aspects of society, including health, very importantly, social security measures, education, socio-cultural activities, family life, and labor market. And a decline in the youth population of working age lowers the labor force participation rate, leading to a rise in the proportion of retired people. So the aged people, once they complete 60 years or 65 years, they retire and they are out of the labor force. But the young population are the productive age group, which is smaller because of the changed composition of the demography of the population. That is having the responsibility of not only taking care of their children, but also taking care of the old population, which is not productive. So this has put a lot of pressure on the productive age group of any country. Particularly, this is being experienced in developed countries. And the developing countries, of course, their population is aging, undoubtedly. But we have a lot of time to think about what policy measures we can take. Aging population has a number of economic implications. These include income support for the extended retirement period, consumption, production, structure of labor market, change in housing, needs of transport, etc. And Japan being one of the countries with long life expectancy, the problem faced by the government is going to change with the composition of the population also. The Japanese being a very small country space-wise, now they are finding it very difficult to take care of the very old people. Very old means people who are above 85 years and completely dependent people. They have to put them in some places where somebody has to take care of them, and they have to make the adults of the family to work because they have to produce more to take care of these people. So the both husband and wife, if they go out, who is going to take care of the old person in the family or old people in the family? Now it is becoming one of the government issues in many of the developing countries, developed countries. So it has a lot of economic implications once the aging increases. 65, 60, 65, it's okay. But with age increasing, the complications also getting increased and the dependency also gets increased. And the productivity is not only the issue of the adult group, but also socio-economic and psychological issues, which comes along with aging, has to be taken care by these people. And most of the countries are finding it very difficult to take care of these psychosocial issues of old people. And it's a tragedy that most of the old people are suffering, they are suffering, of course, with a lot of physical ailments, but the majority of them, more than 80–90% of them, are suffering from psychological diseases, stress, depression. Those are almost common in almost all the people, which doctors say is also a sort of medical care needed diseases. And countries like India, where we have joint families, we never felt that such type of complications will be there with old people, because the family structure itself was totally different. And we used to treat them as an asset to the family, and we used to feel that having one or two old people in the family is like having, it's like a strength, it's like a security. But the nuclear families, with nuclear family background and also having a westernized type of lifestyle, now it is spreading even countries like India, where the old people are not feeling very secure in their aging process. So as an economic issue, income support and employment is one of the impact. Aging of the population has serious problems regarding adequate income for later life. The majority of the elderly population, even in India, do not have retirement benefits. Most of the people are not in the formal sectors. That's one of the reasons. And most of the rural people, once they cross the age of productivity, they become dependent completely. They become dependent, and this has led to a lot of other problems. So having no retirement benefit is also one of the issues which has to be taken seriously. And other means of old age security schemes, such as public insurance or safety net programs, or life insurance schemes, labor market participation, all these things are not really available in countries like India, the developing countries, where people, sometimes the old people are thrown out of the house thinking that they are a burden to the family, and they have to take care of their own bread, and they go work in some informal sectors, and in spite of their ailment, they manage with all the complications. And then it becomes very important for the government to think in terms of how to support them in the later years of their old age, like after 65. And as an economist, we have to think about this expenditure on pension scheme. And most of the time, it is said it is something like consumption expenditure for government and also for the families. So number of pensioners retiring though the number is very small, but the number of pensioners retiring under civil service pension scheme has increased annually by 2.61%. But the expenditure on them is escalated annually by 14%. So government is more worried about that type of expenditure, which is not considered as a developmental expenditure. And these trends in expenditure on pension reveal the serious implications of aging on public finance, of course, public investment and economic development of the country. Definitely when the expenditures done on non-development things, government has to think about how to cope up with that percentage of expenditure, and pension scheme is treated one like that. And the major portion of the impact is definitely by health system. Nowadays, as I told you, the countries are they came out of contagious diseases like infectious diseases, and COVID made us not to say that, because again the world came back to the same level of infectious diseases infecting people irrespective of their age and country. But otherwise, if we see the history of the world, we are ably fought against many of the contagious diseases, and we have come out with the treatments. But unfortunately, the lifestyle related diseases are increasing. So there's a transformation from infectious to the non-infectious diseases with aging population. And this is taking a lot of healthcare expenditure at the government level and also at the family level. And many works have happened about this, and they say with the increased aging or increase in the age, people definitely have one or the other chronic degenerative diseases, particularly nowadays Alzheimer's and Parkinson. These are the age-related diseases which are troubling our old people. See, the nuclear family, for example, the previous generation, for example, they are quite aware of the aging, and they are quite aware of the social security measures and economic security measures, and they definitely, most of the population, at least in developed countries and in urban areas in developing countries, they have taken care of their economic status. But though they are economically empowered or though they are economically independent, there are so many chronic degenerative diseases which are making them to realize that after some age, they have to have somebody to take care. Not in the form of their children, at least in the form of some nursing facility. It's very difficult. As long as the couple are living together, it's okay, one will take care of the other. But once one of the couple dies, the other one is definitely going to face a lot of such issues, because degenerative diseases are something which is a part and parcel of aging. And you don't know what's going to happen to us once we reach 65 above, or 70, 71. Suddenly they get some sort of degenerative diseases, and the organs will start getting degenerated, and without saying, they have to have somebody to take care. This is something which is psychologically troubling the old people and leading to depression in most of the countries, developed and developing countries. So the government has to gear up to this type of health expenditure, because in developing countries, they do not have any health insurance measures or things which support them a lot, even family for that matter. So the health system has to have a lot of negative impact due to the aging process. And demographic trends, as we discussed, aging has to be accepted as the reality for the future world, and the pace at which demographic transition is happening in developed and developing countries together. We are seeing a fast rate of change is happening, transformation in the aging pattern is happening, and it becomes an inevitable part for all of us to think in terms of how to tackle this issue of aging, because it is not something which simply speaks about the economic factors. It is also having, as I told you, socio-psychological issues which are very delicate, and we have to think in terms of those issues also. And this is one of the 2010 and 2050 growth pattern, where India is also shown, and in almost all the countries we can see there is possibility of a rise in the aged population. Look at Japan, where it's already 22.6%, it's a huge number, and it's going to be 39.3, almost 40% of the population is going to be aged. And in Japan, you can see many 100 crossed people living in Japan, and nowadays even they are facing the problem of where to bury the people, because it's a very small country, and the old age populations are really taking a lot of that country's economic productivity. And this is another slide which is showing the old age dependency ratio. You can see India, where India dependency is quite, as on today, it is very less. But look at all the developed countries, you can see how a good number of people are there who are old and who are in the dependency ratio. So the aging is longevity of life is really a very appreciable thing, undoubtedly. When we think about 2011, where 28, 29 years was the real life expectancy of people, now we never think that as something, even if somebody dies at the age of 60, we say it's too early. But unfortunately, we do have a lot of untimely deaths, no doubt. For example, the COVID deaths, we can say all are very untimely and unexpected deaths. But other than that, we do have a huge population which is going to cross 70, 80 years, even in countries like India, where we have a good number of 80 plus people. And this speaks about the significance to be given to the people of this age. And aging, of course, though the demographers are saying the composition is changing, the aging has not been very seriously considered. Aged population has not been very seriously considered. And it's one of the deprived group, one of the, what we can say, group which never ever considered to have any priority. Within the family, we can see, though the very same parents who fought for us, who gave education and everything, when they cross some age, we always treat them as a burden. And that's why we say, ಹತ್ತು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಳು ತಾಯಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಒಬ್ಳು ತಾಯಿನ ಹತ್ತು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನೋಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ ಆ ತರ. It's very it's taken for granted that once you are aged, you have to go to a corner and you should be for yourself. And we never even give the decision taking power on their own property, on their own things, and we grab all the opportunities, all the facilities given to them. And this realization was as individuals, as victims, was seen only after 1980s. Probably in some developed countries this happened, and later the United Nations General Assembly felt that it is going to be a global issue, and it has to have some importance given, and thus led to the First World Assembly on Aging in 1982, which was planned in Vienna, where they introduced 62 points, plan of action to give proper facilities, protection, and security to the global aged people, irrespective of whether they are in developed or developing countries. So the very fact that importance has given to them made other countries to start thinking about the aged population in those countries. And that's how the aging issue came out only in 1980s, we can say. And again in 1991, the General Assembly adopted the United Nations Principles for Older People in 1991, to enumerating 18 entitlements for older people relating to all these socio-psychological issues: independence, participation, care, self-fulfillment, dignity, and these were made something like a right to those people, old people, and the countries encouraged them to fight for these entitlements, because they were all taken away from them and they never ever had a voice to ask for that. And this proclamation on aging made United Nations General Assembly to declare 1999 as International Year of Older Persons. And the countries which signed this proclamation on aging made to realize the importance of this issue and to take them at policy levels in their countries to solve the problem of the older people or aged population. And MIPA is another important step regarding this, which is also known as the Second World Assembly on Aging, held in 2002. And look at the gap between one and another, 1982 and 2002. Though there are some activities here and there, these issues were never taken very seriously, because they're all insignificant for countries which never see them as challenge or seen them as a problem altogether. So in 2002, in Madrid, the Assembly on Aging took place, which is known as the Second World Assembly. And in this, 160 governments, almost governments, they signed the pact, and they realized the importance of aging as a future realization to all the countries. Not only that, the senior citizens are aged people who are deprived of all their rights, all their powers. In many cases, their own property made them a victim of other people. The governments, the institutions, realize that they should be respected with some basic human rights, like anybody for that matter. The aging should not make them deprived of their human rights. Nobody should treat them like animals. Nobody should throw them out after utilizing their things. And this realization made to think about human rights of senior citizens, like food, shelter, clothing. In many of the rural areas, even these things, they are deprived. And adequate social security, assistance, protection, freedom from discrimination, the highest possible standard of health, treating with dignity, protection from neglect. All these are, though we say they're all very minor things, but the aged people who have lived a very dignified, very protected, and very high level lifestyle, they also started saying that their life is deprived of all these things only because of aging. Once they cross some age, even the family starts treating them with neglect, negligence. Of course, exceptions will be there, but majority observation is like that. And this made the people to think in terms of providing human rights to senior citizens. And in many countries, they were told to complain to police, or they were told to contact the government if such things is not provided to them. To such an extent, their rights were strengthened. And the developed countries, though they are more worried about these things, developing countries still not have taken this as a very serious issue, because we still have good number of young population, adult population, and the cultural, socio-cultural method of family life which we are leading never make us realize that it is going to be a threat to the economy, and it's going to be a huge issue in the coming days. But the reality is, it is going to be there very fast, and we have to gear up to the possibilities, policy measures, or what we can do after seeing all the developed countries and how they are going to affect the economy as a whole. So developed countries, they have faced it, but 2050 is giving the predictions that it's going to be there in most of the developing countries. The young population has already started reducing in almost all the countries, and the aged population, senior citizens number is increasing in almost all the countries, and accordingly the requirement will definitely change, and the government has to gear up to these issues as new economic challenges. And can we as economists consider this as a negative trend? Of course, aging population is accepted as a negative development. If we say yes, then the global aging population should sound an alarm for governments and policymakers. Definitely, it's in spite of all the positivity it has for an economy, it do have a negative impact because we treat them as a huge population which is growing, and it's not going to contribute directly to the population, to the economy as such. So government, we cannot say that we neglect them, but we have to have a lot of policy measures to take regarding this group. So World Health Organization itself has drawn major policies at international level. And there is a potential conflict between longevity and economic development, as all of us know, and providing social protection for the health needs of elderly people through a sustainable pension system is to ensure continued sustainable growth. So the economic impact of aging is definitely negative if we think that we have to provide them pension for a long time, because they're going to be there for another 25, 30 years, even after retirement. Now the situation is their life expectancy has increased as prolonged for a long time. And even after 60, if we start giving pension to a person, it is not going to lapse after 3-4 years. It's going to be there for 30 years. And we do have other social security measures like transferring that to the dependent wife, or transferring that to dependent children. And this is a sort of burden to the economy, because though it is considered as a very crucial thing as a social security measure for a country like India, it definitely has an economic impact, because the number of aged population is increasing, and their longevity is also increasing. So the economic impact, definitely we have to think in terms of how government is going to take care of such people. And that has to be a policy issue also, because as all of us know, consumption and investment is very, very important for any economy. And if one shrinks, the stock of assets decreases. What happens in the elderly group is they spend a lot of their income on healthcare, because once they cross 60, definitely they'll have one or the other health issues, and their investment, their expenditure is more on health than on food. And secondly, when they realize that their expenditure on healthcare is going to increase, most of the cases, their consumption drastically gets reduced. They stop consuming like consumption products, consumption goods, whatever they consume, they start reducing it over a period of time, thinking that it's going to be a security measure for them to save more and to keep it, put it on health care measures. So most of the time what happens is there is a drastic decline in the total demand, because the elderly population do not consume the way the younger population consumes. And that is also is having impact on the economy. And next, labor force participation, as all of us know, once they retire, the labor force participation shrinks. So according to Malthus, Malthus says that economists bigger the population, more will be the consumption. And as a classical thinker, he says that affects the economic growth. When you consume more, you hardly have any amount to invest. So the classical thinkers believe that consumption leads to hinders economic growth. But on the contrary, the economists believe, present-day economists believe that when population increases, economic growth increases. We use the term population dividend. Definitely, there is a increase in the consumption, and also there is an increase in the labor force participation. leading to an increase in the economic development. So there is a complex relationship between labor force and population aging caused by decrease in fertility rate. With the help of monetary and fiscal policies, governments have the power to influence price level, investment, interest rates, inflation, employment, and income. But you have to take into consideration how it's going to affect keeping up with the global shifts that the economies are experiencing. So government actions, therefore, must be targeted at either precise market or specific activities, and changes caused by population aging in employment, human capital, education may have an influence on economic growth. So individuals' requirement from the economy change over their lifespan. The supply of labor, consumption, and production level saving investment will vary over people life stage. This means that if population ages, then the active working people may not be able to cover the older ones' pension and healthcare costs. So, though we say that they are going to get some pension, they are going to reduce the consumption of their expenditure of their salary, pension. The reality is the active working people do have a burden of the old population, retired population, which has one or the other health problem and which is considered as a dependent population. Though they, as I told you, though they have their own money, they are in a position to purchase their own medicine, or they are covered under insurance, that will not stop there. They do have a sort of other requirement which has to be taken care by the children, their children, or the active working population, or we can say adults. So these are all the complications which crop up with the aging process. And I have joined this particular slide, gender concern, where the aging population need a lot of care and lot of dependency, need a sort of nursing, definitely. And this portion has been taken as a challenge by the governments in solving two issues. One is aged population issue, another one is the gender issue. The option of balancing the effect of an aging population is to provide job opportunities for those who are underrepresented. We have to take care of the bigger dependent population in terms of aged population. And for that, we need to trigger the employability of the adults in the group. We need extra money. So what we can do is those who are underrepresented in the labor force, particularly the women of working age, can bring into the economy as workers so that they can earn more to the family and also to the economy. And where they can be put, we can definitely make them to work in areas, care taking areas, nursing areas, where this can parallelly help the old people. And not only that, the women world over, it is proved that women live more than men. So once the husband dies, most of the time the women become a victim of such death, because she has to depend economically and also family wise on somebody. She can't live alone, and she most of the time she doesn't have any financial support. So this makes us to think in terms of making her empowered. So giving them opportunities to work, and also making use of the talent they have, or making use of the experience they have. We can expand the service sectors to improve the economy. So in emerging countries, encouraging women to join the labor force is essential to reduce the dependency of the aging population. And there are a good number of works where they argue that labor force policies and regulations must be improved for women and younger children to reduce the burden of aging population. This is only with special reference to aged population, how to reduce the burden of aged population. So we can make more adults to work, and we can make use of the deprived group in terms of gender, and we can put them in the caring sector where it helps the old people also. In that way, this has been linked. And it is in French also, the Italian government also, they have looking in such directions. Due to falling fertility rate, fewer young workers can support older people, and social security is the main way of government to provide more effective public support. Although some governments have taken important steps to provide social security and pension policies to increase the wealth of older people, many emerging countries still allocate a very small portion of spending towards supporting older people's requirement. And we can give our own country example. This is a very new issue where now we are thinking in terms of giving something to them. These are all more like social issues than economic issues in developing countries. And now the time has come that we should not only provide social security to them, but also look in terms of how we can fill the gap which has been created by the retirement, and also by filling the gap, how we can help them to get more care and nursing. In that way, the gender factor can come in between. And these are some of the key issues of Indian population, aged population. In 2001, the census, 2001 census has given the aged population was 7.1% at that time, and aged female 7.8, higher than male. And nearly 20% of India's population is going to be above 60, is what the United Nations predicts. So 20% is quite a big percentage for a developing country like India. And we do have the urban and rural population. Rural population is completely informal sector based, where they don't get any pensions and they don't get any proper social security measures. And we have 35% below poverty line elders. Around 60% of rural India have no security, social security, and 60% of the population in rural area is living below poverty line. And it is very serious issue, as India is rated as second largest. India is the country with second largest number of elders. Though the percentage is less, but the number is more. We are second largest country to have the elderly people, and this makes all the difference. And this is also some information from 2001 census. The elderly persons lives in rural India is 75%, women 48, almost half of it, illiterate and dependent, it's a huge number, 73. Below poverty is also a very huge number. And with all these complications, the old people are not having sufficient food to eat and shelter and the family support. And this is the responsibility now shifts from family. Of course, family has to take care of many of the issues, but it's adding the government as one of the crucial factor to look into. And in 2011 population census also, we are seeing a drastic increase in the old population, 104 million elderly population, that's 60 and above, 53 million female, 51 million male. We can see, and then more number of women, and a lot of issues which has been there has consistently changed in the next census. The old age dependency ratio climbed from 10.9 to 14.2% in 2011 for India as a whole. And this is making us to accept the fact that it is time for us to think in terms of how to take care of this group and how to compensate the gap which has been created in the productivity of the economy by making other arrangements, not troubling these people or not at the cost of these people inconvenience. These are all from the 2011 census, where the state-wise elderly population is also been given. in India, Kerala is leading with 12.6%, and Diu Daman is with 4.7, is the last in the list, and Karnataka is having approximately 7.7% of the population as aged population. And this is just for comparison. In 2000, the Indian population pyramid is like this. In 2000, still we have a bigger base in the population pyramid. We do have a lot of children in the population, and we have been rated as the superpower in the coming years, mainly because of this population situation, where we have a lot of children and lot of adults in the population pyramid who definitely are going to be the future producers in the country. But the prediction of 2050 is like this. So you can see it is almost like a rectangle, like the population pyramid is going to change in the coming years, and we are going to have more number of youths, and maybe in the coming years the base will continue to reduce. So the burden of the base to hold the whole pyramid is all about this challenge which the government is going to have. And this also speaks about 3 different census population in India. It was 56.7, and now 2011 it is 103, and definitely now it is more. So what are the emerging and present scenario of India? We do have increased life expectancy, and this is another obvious trend. We are seeing feminization of elderly population. Women live longer than men, definitely. It has been there throughout the groups, and elderly group also women are more in number. So feminization of elderly population, we say, and urbanization is one of the challenges where we have increasing urbanization. But the tragedy is the percentage spent on health on old population is very, very less, and economic security to most of the elderly people is missing. So this has to be taken into consideration, and government has to give a solution to all these issues. Priority wise, if we think about economic security, we have to, the government has to introduce pension schemes. Of course, very less percentage of the population is in a formal sector, and definitely even there the pension provision is still lesser. So pension, at least to some extent, it will solve the basic necessities of the old people. Government has to give. Of course, we do have some pension scheme provisions in Karnataka where a very nominal amount is given to old people, but to what an extent it is reaching them is questionable as it is. So income generation opportunity for able and willing old people should be given. So as economic security, when you tell them to sit and have the benefit of pension, that itself has a psychological effect on them, that they are not in a position to work or they are dependents from right now. So many of the countries have this idea of putting them or continuing them in their own work, but lessening the hours of work and lessening the salary, and are making use of their experience to train the young generation. So this will make them feel very happy and make them more active and alert in the coming years. So once they retire 60 years, it's not that they should sit and have the pension and do not work anywhere. We have to make use of the experience they have, and we have to transfer that to the younger generation. And many countries are thinking not stopping them at the time of retirement, but lessening the number of hours and slowing down their working pace so that they can be in the group, and they are also contributing to the tax to the government. And this has a lot of light weight on the fiscal issues of the government, because once they retire, you have to give all the amount and you have to settle down and you have to start with pensions. But if they continue in the same work, lessening their work pressure and contributing their experiences and lessening the salary, less salary will be given to them, and they add on to the productivity of the government. In that way, it is not a huge burden on the government, fiscal pressure on government. So imaginative schemes for contributory pensions for those older people who can afford to save in prime years is also one of the solution as an economic security. And in India, we do have these deprived people in terms of women, Dalit, or poor people, disabled people, third gender, widows. These people are as usual as it is in their young age. They are deprived of many of the facilities. They are deprived of many of the financial benefits. And when they become old, it's really a tragedy. We never treat them as human beings. And it is the responsibility of the government to give some special schemes for these people so that they can live a peaceful life in their old age. And health security is, of course, as we know, accessibility, availability, and affordability, the 3 A's, which has been given to everybody at the time of Health for All by 2000 AD, which is not really happened. Many of the poor people, old people, they're still away from all these things. So it is the responsibility of the government, at least when they, in their old age, we should provide proper health facilities to these people, and even special facilities, if they are really worthy of it, should be extended. Of course, we do have some health related facilities given to old people, but again, there, what type of facilities are given, where they are given is questionable. Since we think it is given free of cost, most of the time the quality of the health care is very, very less, and it has been proved by many work. And most of the cases, they don't go there thinking that it's not really worthy, and they prefer to pay more and go to better positions, better institutions, or better healthcare facilities. And if they don't really in a position to invest more, then the old people will be deprived of these facilities. Such things should not happen. Government has to go to the people and it should be old people friendly behaviors. And as far as India is concerned, we do have a national policy for the elderly. The Article 41 of Indian Constitution itself, at that time only they have identified this as one of the crucial issues, and it has come in our Constitution itself. Assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness, disablement. In that way, it is really a great thing that the Constitution has made provision to those people, and it becomes mandatory for all the governments and all the people in the administration to look into these issues. And Maintenance of Parents, Senior Citizens Act 2007 was enabled to ensure need-based maintenance of parents and senior citizens. We cannot throw our parents out. We cannot neglect them. It is like a crime, and definitely they can go to government for help. So they have everything in the form of Act 2007. Act made a lot of difference. What is lagging is the senior citizens. They do not really making use of these acts and policies which are there. Even now they think they are protecting their children against all these things, and most of the time they just keep the pain to themselves and stay away from all these things. We do have an integrated program for older people being implemented in 1992, and when 1999, the year of old age people came, India also had national policy on older persons in 1999, and Maintenance Act has not only made people, children more responsible and obligations to the heirs to provide care and support. There are a good number of other facilities in terms of transportation or finance. Or there are many ministries which came together and started working towards their benefits. And these are some of the pension schemes which are available, which can be utilized by older people. I just scroll because of time. And as all of us know, Atal Pension Yojana is also there, which is helping the people from a rural area and unorganized sectors to contribute something, and the government contributing equal amount so that they can get a good amount at the time of retirement. So, so many different types of schemes, different types of programs, and even the developed countries for that matter, they are working on many issues, they're working on many programs which they can think successfully help the government, the economy, as well as the old people, because this is going to be a trend in the coming years. It's going to be a common problem to all the countries, and everyone has to work towards this. The only thing is the cultural, the social, the psychological factors, the educational level, the rural, urban, these differences has to be taken into consideration by each government, and government has to formulate the policies and programs in such a way that it should not only give them benefits, but also raise their psychological and sociological status, which is very, very important when dealing with old people. Many are having economic empowerment, but that is not something which is giving them any happiness. So ultimately, we have to think in terms of making them comfortable at the time of, at least at their end of their life. So as suggestions, we can say the present allocation of social pension should be improved. We should encourage private sectors to give pension, and the insurance policy is there, life insurance, but what they need is after retirement, they need medical insurance, which is most of the time ends with their service, and they have to go for a private one. And this life insurance can link to the medical insurance, so that the medical facilities can be given to all the people till their end, because health is something which is taking a lot of their money, and facilities to be provided in the hospitals, nursing homes, all these rehabilitation to people, old people should be something which is more, as I said, physiotherapy and all those things should be more people friendly. So with this, I think I've taken a lot of time. I'm closing this session. Thank you, one and all. Any suggestions or questions? You're welcome. Hope it is of some help.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your outstanding presentation, madam.
Thank you, Prasad.
Actually, we are not wearing this much of information regarding age-old population, but we actually enrich our knowledge regarding this. Madam, in this regard, actually in India, there's a problem in government also. If government to help the age-old people to increase the retirement age, there is another side. The people who are not who are waiting to enter the job, they will be suffer. There is a trade-off situation between the already in service and waiting to enter the job. Because Yadurappa government was increasing the retirement age. In that regard, what is your opinion, madam?
The thing is, we do have a lot of vacancies, Prasad. The government, if seriously take into consideration, if they fill the vacancies, good number of youth will definitely get a lot of opportunities are there, but they're not really very keen on that, because each new job will make them financially stressful. So what the suggestion is not to extend the service. It is just slowing down the service. If you want to send them out, don't send them altogether, but slow down. If we are teaching for 16 hours, for example, teachers, it's not another 5 years. Like another 5 years, you make them 4 years, 4 hours per teacher, so that we will go to the department, we work there, and also we help the younger generation.
Okay.
We are not retired, but
Okay.
we will be in a different group. We are not a regular group also. In that way, you can slow down their working pace. Definitely the vacancies will be there because the working hours will be reduced. Out of 60, only 4 is given to one person. For other things, you can hire one new person, one thing. And secondly, government should take interest in filling the vacancies.
Okay.
See, there are a huge number of vacancies still pending, and those things definitely will go to youth only. It is not that we want to extend the service. It is just that
there are some opinion, madam. Some opinion to
definitely because the young population is big in India, and still they are waiting for jobs. It's very frustrating. And at this time, you say that we are extending the retirement period. It's going to make a lot of disturbance. That is true. But
overall, it is very useful session, madam. Today we are satisfied. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Shall I wind up, ma'am?
Yes. Very good morning, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, I'm listening, ma'am.
Yeah. Very good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, this is the question in connection to the question which has been asked by Dr. Prasad. Even like in the solution, you have been told the same thing. The government should have to increase the job opportunities. That is the new job opportunities for the old age people. Okay, but whenever the government start doing those things, obviously it adversely affect on the younger generation as well as those who are aspiring for the new jobs. Okay, then this is one side. Another side, in the unorganized sector, whenever they offer less salary for these old age people, then obviously they take only, or they appoint only the old age rather than the new generation people who have more employability, productivity. Okay, obviously it adversely affect on the economic productivity, I guess.
No, madam, unorganized sector is something where government cannot do anything. Like in agriculture sector, for that matter, between gender only we discriminate. We give more to men and less to women. And government can only say, but it cannot like us. We get equal salary, but it is not possible in unorganized sectors. That's where government has to take care of social security measures, like pensions, introducing pension for old age people, or giving them free health services, and those things. They have to take care in terms of such things. Salary and all, neither they can fight for it. If they fight, then they will thrown out of the system. That is the situation.
So what is your opinion regarding the compulsory retirement which has been taken by most of the BSNL employees as well as the Indian Railway employees in our country?
What, madam? I didn't get you. What is it?
Compulsory? Yeah. A year ago, those who are near to the retirement, that is those who have completed 55 years.
VRS, voluntary retirement.
Yeah, voluntary. Yeah, the government. No, it's not voluntary. Like the BSNL as well as the Indian Railway has been forced them to take voluntary retirement.
And that there are a lot of conditions for that, I think. If the person is on long leave, he's not.
No, without long leave also, it's been happened actually. Okay, I think that is because of the disinvestment process which has been handled by the government, I guess.
No, as far as my knowledge goes, if the person is not efficient, or he is on long leave, and where his requirement is not really needed or something like that, the government
actually, in BSNL, they're planning to go for disinvestment, and also they are going for private administration. As those are working already, they don't want to continue.
Yeah, even there are a lot of discussions that intentionally they are taking some people away, and those controversies were there. Even central government
already they have been taken out.
They are taking out, and
taken out already. Like
there are also a lot of controversies are there, and some are saying it is intentionally. Some people are being removed, like that, right?
Is it exit policy, like, ma'am? Exit policy?
Not exit policy. It is.
That is not an exit policy.
They are like shifting from public to private sector, right?
No, actually, the thing is, okay, yeah, it is the informally I got the news from one of my colleague that in BSNL they have been offered the huge like the retirement portion of money, and they have forced them to take the retirement at 6. Yeah.
That is because they are
That means
like closing down, something like that.
Yeah. That is
Tempting
because
the
of, I
people
think,
to go.
disinvestment only.
Yeah. That is there even in army and all, you can take voluntary retirement at early
Yeah,
age.
that will be there in the
Yeah.
rule.
And now they are public and
Yeah.
private sectors. Even in central government, like paramedical forces are there. There also they are doing this in a very smart way, where they are removing those efficient officers who are challenging the administration or something like that, where they do not want them because they consider them as a nuisance. So in spite of having efficiency and all, they put some blame on them and they are removing them outrightly, saying that we are giving them so much benefits in terms
If
of.
this continues along with the efficient, more productive
That is happened.
employee,
Lot
then
of
obviously it is a adverse
Yeah,
effect
they are
on the.
protesting actually. At the
Yeah.
central government level, some issues have linked to caste also, and it has gone to Human Rights Commission and SC/ST Commission, like that only they are fighting. A lot of issues are there, and it has to be separated at the legal level.
Namaste, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It
Namaste.
was really a fruitful session.
Thank you so much.
Namaste, madam.
Yes, sir.
ಪುರುಷ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಗಳದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ. ಬಟ್ ಒಂದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಒಂದು ಭಾರ ಏನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇತ್ತೀಚಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೊಂದು ಭಾರ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಬೇಕಿಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಭಾವನೆ. ಬಟ್ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಾಡು ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತದ್ದು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಏನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಗರ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳು ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತನೇ ಕೆಲವು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳು ಫಾರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏಜ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವೃದ್ಧಾಶ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲ, ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳೇ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋರ್ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗಳು. ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಸುಮಾರು 200 ಮನೆಗಳಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
And you have to give a huge amount, sir. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನೀವು 25-30 ಹಿಂಗ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. Here you have to give some amount. Those children who are in abroad, they feel it very comfortable.
Yes.
Doctors ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, nurses ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಊಟ ತಿಂಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. So money is not a big thing for them. They put them there and they leave the country.
Yes, madam. Yes.
And the tragedy is all these people are suffering psychologically, sir. They're all depression.
ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬಂದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ.
ಹೌದು.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದು ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದು ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದು.
ಬೇಕಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ವಾತ್ಸಲ್ಯ ಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ. ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಣ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೋ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮನಿ.
ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇಮ್ ಆರ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕಲಿ ಎಂಪವರ್ಡ್. ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಇದಾರೆ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅದ್ರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಟು ಬಿ ವಿತ್ ದೆಮ್.
ಅದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗಳನ್ನ ನೀವೊಂದು ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ನನ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತದು. 10 ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಳು ತಾಯಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ 10 ಮಕ್ಳು ತಾಯಿನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು. ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಯ ಆಸ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಲ್ ಕೇಳೋಂತ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಥವಾ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇದೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ.
ಕೇಳೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ. ಸ್ನ್ಯಾಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ರೀಚ್ ಸಮ್ ಏಜ್, ದೇ ಸ್ನ್ಯಾಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೆಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಥ್ರೋ ದೆಮ್ ಔಟ್. ಅದು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಈಗ. ಇವನ್ ಇನ್ ರೂರಲ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಯು ಸೇಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಹಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಅಪ್ಪ ತೀರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಮ್ಮನ ಹತ್ರ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಮ್ಮನ ಮನೆಗೆ ಆಚೆ ಹಾಕಿರೋದಿದೆ ಕೇಸಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಟು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸರ್. ದ ಟ್ರಾಜಿಡಿ ಈಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ ನಾವ್ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಪಾಪ.
ತುಂಬಾ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳು ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅಥವಾ ಕೋರ್ಟು ಅದು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಂಥದ್ದು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಆಸ್ತಿ ವಾಪಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಕೊನೆ ಪಕ್ಷ
ಅಂದ್ರೆ they don't know really, they are not that aware. ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಯಾರನ್ನ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು, ಈಗ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರು they have to depend on somebody. ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನೇ ನಂಬಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಂಬ್ತಾರೆ ಪಾಪ. It's very pathetic thing is that they are very insecure.
ಹೌದೌದು. ಈ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏಜ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಕಷ್ಟದ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಕೆಲವರೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಫರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳಂಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದ್ ಗಮನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋಂಥದ್ದು ಮೇಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೆಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಶೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಈ ಅತ್ತೆಯನ್ನ ಸೊಸೆಂದಿರು ಇತ್ತೀಚಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಕಡೆ, ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಜನರಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ. ತುಂಬಾ ಸೊಸೆಂದಿರು ಅತ್ತೆಯನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನಿರ್ತದೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಯ್ಯಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏಜ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಫರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕಾನೂನಾತ್ಮಕ ಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನ, ಬಟ್ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕಿಂತ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ.
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬಂದೆ ನಾನು.
ನಾವು ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೇಲಿರುವುದು ನಾವು ಅವರೊಬ್ರು ನೋಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟೇ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ್ರೂ ಅಪ್ಪನೇ ಹೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ, ಎಷ್ಟೇ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ್ರೂ ಮಗನೇ ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರು ಇರುವ ತನಕ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸಿ ಸಚ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಮಕ್ಳು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮನ್ನ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ ನೋಡುವ ತರ ಇದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಒಂಥರ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನೈಸ್ಡ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಆಗಿರುವುದು, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೇ ಅವರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಬಿಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಿಂದಲೇ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ.
ಹೌದೌದೌದು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮಾರಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ತರೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದನ್ನ ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟ್ರಾಜಿಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಯುನೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ಅರ್ಬನ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್. ಅರ್ಬನ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕಲಿ ಎಂಪವರ್ಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಈಗ ಅವರು ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏಜ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ 70s, ದೇ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಟು ಎನಿ ಆಫ್ ದರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್. Even at the age of 70, 80, they do not want to go to anybody as a dependent. They want to be in their own place.
Yes.
ಅವರು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಓದಿಸಿ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬರುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. In some cases, even the children wanted them to go there. These people won't go.
ಅವ್ರ ಸಾವಲ್ ಕೂಡ ಬರಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್, ಬರಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have seen lot of
ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ.
ಹೌದು, it's very tragedy that these people won't go anywhere.
Yes.
ಮನೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಅದು ಅನದರ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ which has been made. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮನೇಲಿರಲ್ಲ, ಇವರು ಮನೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ.
ಒಂದು ದಿನ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೇ ಒಬ್ರು ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಬಂದ್ರು. ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರು ಗಂಡ ಹೆಂಡ್ತಿರು, ತುಂಬಾ ಏಜ್ಡ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಅವರ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಬ್ರು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಊಟ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಮೇಡಮ್, ಊಟ ಸಖತ್ತು ತುಂಬಾ ಇರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ನೋವಾಯ್ತು. ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ಅಡಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರನ್ನೋ ಇಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿ ತುಂಬಾ ನೋವಾಯ್ತು. ಇಂಥದ್ದು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಂಡಿಡಿತಾರ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವರು ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ ಸಮಾಜ
ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ಇಟ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್, ಡಿಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ಯಾಥೆಟಿಕ್ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್.
ಓಕೆ ಮೇಡಮ್, ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೊ ಮಚ್.
Ma'am, have a question, ma'am. Ma'am, presentation and information is very nice, ma'am. My question is, are there any studies which look into the community-wise and class-wise classification of aged people in India? Means based on that, the government can go for more policy analysis, like means community and caste-wise aged people. Are there any studies on that, ma'am?
Probably caste-wise, I don't think there is, but community-wise ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಕೆಲವೆಲ್ಲ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ they are not specifically giving the data of old people, but you can grasp it. Community wise ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. Why they are doing ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ ಅಂತ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಏಜ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ದರ್ ಹೋಮ್ ಇವನ್ ದೋ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಲೋನ್. ಸೊ ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅರ್ಬನ್ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ವೆನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಹೋದಾಗ ತಾಯಿ ಒಬ್ಳೆ ಮನೇಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾಳೆ, ಅವ್ಳಿಗೆ ಯಾರು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾಗಿಲು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು. ಅಪ್ ಟು 70, 80 ದೇ ಆರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಂತ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೌ ದ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ದೆಮ್. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ಪೊಲೀಸ್, ಮನೆಯ ಪೊಲೀಸು ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಫ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ದ ಪೊಲೀಸ್, ಅಥವಾ if something happens you have to call your neighbor. So community responsibility ಕೊಡಬಹುದಾ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. In that way probably ಕೆಲವು ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಏಜ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸ್ ಸಚ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಡೇಟಾ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಅಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ we have good amount of reports. National level allo we can get some, but community caste wise it's really needed because there are some factors which are very unique in some communities and some castes. Like for example education irbodu athwa women empowerment irbodu, ಕೆಲವು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಕೆಲವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. In that way we can make use of them. Broad ಆಗಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ those who are deprived it should be taken care ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಡೇಟಾ ವೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ವರ್ಕ್ಗಳು ಇನ್ನೂ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ.
What is the effectiveness of 2007 Act, madam? 2007 Act means the children should take care of their parents like that. What is the effectiveness?
It is making them mandatory so that at least out of fear they can take care of them ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ನೀವು ನನ್ನನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಟು ಕೋರ್ಟ್, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ದಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವ ಥ್ರೆಟನಿಂಗ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸಿ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಲೀಗಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ನೋ ಡೌಟ್, ಅಥವಾ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ನಾವು ಲೀಗಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಗಂಡ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಜಗಳ ಆದಾಗ ನಾನ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನಮ್ಮ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದೇ ನೀಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಲವ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಷನ್, ನಾಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಮನಿ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಕೇಸಸ್. All they want is you are my parent, you should be with me, you should live with me ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು ಅಂತ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇರುವ ಜೀವಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್. ಏನ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದೀಯಾ, ಇದ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ವಿನಃ ನೋಬಡಿ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಲಿ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಬ್ರದರ್ಸ್ ಮಧ್ಯ. ಆಗ ಪಂಚಾಯತಿ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಮದರ್ಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ರು, ಮದರ್ ಅಪ್ಪ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮದರ್ಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮಂದಿರಿಬ್ರು ಕಿತ್ತಾಟ, ನಮಗ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಸೆಡ್, ನಿಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಇರುವ ತನಕನೂ ಅದೇ ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ಲಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನೀವ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂತೀರಾ ಅಂತ ನನಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮಿಬ್ಬರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂತೀರಾ ಅಂತ ನಮಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ ವಿತ್ ಹರ್, ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಸಿ ಹೌ ಯು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಕೇರ್. ಸಾಯುವಾಗ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರು. ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಸಿ ದ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್. Both were fighting to take care of the mother for a piece of land. So ultimately it's very sad for the mother to listen. Property goskara nan beku anta helta nan maga andre it's really very sad for the mother. But the thing is, unfortunately, that's what is happening. So now
okay ma'am, in recent years we can also notice the mercy killing among aged, especially we can notice, ma'am, it is because it is several times it is not proved, but it's happening, ma'am.
It's happening.
That is the, yes.
Definitely. And without proof you cannot do anything.
Yes ma'am.
That is there. Rumors are definitely there.
Yes.
And after this WhatsApp and all came, we have seen terrible things of manhandling old people, beating them. Somebody has videoed these people. What surprises is they cannot control that, but definitely they are making videos and they are putting it on internet so that it is a sort of sensitizing the people. ಸೊಸೆ ಅತ್ತೆನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೊಡಿಯೋದು, ಮಗ ಹೊಡಿಯೋದು, ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ ಅಪ್ಪನ್ನ. We have seen lot of those things, and where we are living, where we are going, what is happening to our humanity and all. It's we are all worried about monetary things, not about the love and affection. What they have given to us, we are not able to give them back. This is the tragedy of present day, and that is the reason why the government, the state is coming in between. When the things are not happening according to its own natural way, somebody has to intervene, and I think government is intervening in the form of policies and all.
Yes.
With all these, what I feel is we have to, the upbringing should be corrected. So ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮ ಅತ್ತೆಗೆ ಒಡಕಲ್ ತಟ್ಟೆಲಿ ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾಳೆ, ಮಗು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗೋದು ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂದಾಗ ನೀನ್ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ ಕೊಡಕ್ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. See, this is what we are teaching our children. ಸೊ ಮುಗ್ದೋಗಿರೋ ಪಾತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮ್ಮ ಅಜ್ಜಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಲು, ಮಗು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ನೀನ್ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು, ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಪ್ಬ್ರಿಂಗಿಂಗ್ ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಫೀಲ್.
Yes ma'am, need to bring morality among.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you ma'am. Thank you.
ಟೀ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
Now it is tea break to
11:45.
11:45 or 50, right? Thank you.